Here's a great example of why different states do things differently. This gentleman says, in Michigan, when you buy a home, both names must go on the title, even if the cash comes from the money from one spouse earned prior to the marriage. So that's very interesting. In Florida, both spouses to need to sign any debt instruments like a mortgage or a note for the house, but both spouses do not need to be financially liable. And then secondly, we don't require that both spouses be on the title, whether it's premarital home or a home bought after the marriage. One spouse can go on title, and that spouse or the other spouse can be on the mortgage alone. So we kind of mix and match here. But the reality is you got to be very careful when you're a spouse who is not on title to the home, and especially if it was a premarital asset of your other spouse. Then if they pass away and no estate planning is done, the Florida law by default gives you a life estate only in the property. What that means is that you cannot sell the property. You typically can't put a mortgage or get a loan on the property. You are responsible for all of the existing mortgage payments, HOA, taxes, maintenance, insurance, utilities, but you don't own it. So be very careful if you are in Florida and you are getting married and then moving into your spouse's premarital home. You probably want to do some estate planning to make sure that you have additional rights. If you don't have that, like I said, you either get the life estate or you can take a 50% ownership interest if your predeceased spouse had children from prior to your marriage. So it gets a little tricky. But the idea is that make sure those things are coordinated. There's a lot of people that just assume I'm the surviving spouse, and so I will own the house or the property if my spouse predeceases me. That is not always the case. So work with a qualified attorney in whatever state you live in to make sure that you have everything set up and that you truly understand what will happen in the event that one spouse passes away and that spouse is the only spouse who was the owner of the property. Have a great day.